I will mention ROs and all the activities carried out by the European Commission in relation to the tariffs introduced by the United States. We are all doing our best at all levels to ensure that the 25% tariffs for private cars from Europe to the United States are finally abolished. I believe that in the future these tariffs will be zero, both on the one hand and on the other. In the future, of course, high tariffs will be imposed when it comes to steel and aluminum. The Commission is making very correct decisions here because it is taking all measures to reduce the import of steel to Europe so that this industry remains preserved in Europe. There is also a fear of what will happen if the cards played by China with the United States, where the tariffs are already at 145%. If this product, which was originally intended for the United States, from China, will be pushed into Europe. The European Commission is right to say that on a 2-week basis, it is necessary to monitor whether it leads to any anomalies, that some product that could significantly harm us from China would arrive, and then various restricting measures will be taken. You all know very well that there is no Russian law, there is no American law, and there is no Israeli law. These are the 3 countries that have the so-called FARA law, which is designated by a foreign agency when they are financed from abroad by the designation of a foreign agent. That's what it's called. The law has a register of foreign agents when they take money from abroad. That's how it's designated. Why don't any of you ask the opposition representatives who are still talking about foreign agents? How do we harm them? How do we harm them? What is the essence of the Russian law, or what is the essence of the Israeli or American law? They can write there that the American law or the Israeli law is one of the above. Ladies and gentlemen, the law of foreign agents that was adopted in the parliament has nothing to do with the FARA law, neither with the Russian law, nor with the American law, nor with the Israeli law. We wanted to raise transparency when it comes to financing, because you all know very well that the organizers of the protests are financed from unknown Dutch accounts. That's why we said that we need to raise transparency. And the foreign agencies that talk the most about transparency in the US are nervous and criticize this law. We have all kinds of allegations about the fight against corruption and non-transparency. These allegations that fight against corruption and non-transparency are at the forefront of the opposition to the law on transparency when it comes to financing foreign agencies. But you, of course, create a different world. You claim that the Russian law, it's a law based on European standards. Please, everyone has the right to protest. I will never accuse the protesters of desolation, drunkenness, and I don't know what else. I respect the right of everyone to protest and express a different opinion. But we can't be quiet when there is a demand to leave the EU. Who said that we want to leave the EU, or that there is no Russian law when there is no Russian law? And you are quiet again. Tomorrow I will attend the official visit of Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán. I consider this visit very important. I feel that I am meeting with Viktor Orbán when it comes to the future of the EU and whether countries like Slovakia, Hungary, and others will survive. But I don't deny that I know what I am talking about. Scenarios like, let's abolish the right of veto in the EU are very frequent. They say we will decide and you will listen. No, this is the end of the EU. I think it is right that the topic of the future of the EU, the establishment of a sovereign state, the questions of sovereignty will be the subject of our discussions. Slovak-Hungarian relations are not burdened by any open political questions. That is why we can focus on a constructive agenda. I would like to thank everyone who took part in the Second World War. I did this in the United States, where I visited the Arlington Century, where I thanked the soldiers who fought in the Pacific for the return of the Slovaks. I was in Normandy to thank everyone who landed and helped to open the Second Front. I would like to thank the pilots from Great Britain because the battle they fought was devastating in 1941. And then you will know my opinion that it would be absolutely unethical and immoral if we ignored the glory of the victory over fascism and the end of the Second World War on May 9th. Zelensky, in December, when he announced that he would abolish and not allow another flow of gas through Ukraine, caused the price of gas to skyrocket. Today, we have record prices of gas in the European Union. They are several times higher than in the United States. But none of you will say, although the German companies and many others say that without renewing the gas that will come from the East, we will forget about stability and lower prices. Even when this gas is renewed, the prices will not be at the same level as they were before the crisis. So again, you are creating a world. So someone poured gas here. Not us. Not us. You write that Ukraine is buying Russian gas. You know how to criticize us. This is immoral. The government is interested in buying Russian gas and probably finances Russian military machinery. But Ukraine is buying Russian gas. Ukraine is buying Russian gas and pays for it. In fact, it pays for Russian military machinery against itself. But none of you will say that. This is not right. You are talking about what Ukraine needs for the next year. Therefore, this will help when it comes to Slovakia as an energy giant. We are already able to export electricity. But the situation because of what Ukraine is doing is untenable in Europe. Again, we are responsible for something. We would not have a single millimeter.